Miami Dolphin fan, let me ask you something. You love the Dolphins? Do you think they are the greatest football team? How about the greatest show on surf? If you answered yes to any or all of these questions, then fins up and surfs up to the greatest show on surf .shop today. Celebrate the most explosive offense in the NFL with this awesome exclusive merch. From jackets, hats, shirts, and more, they have it all. Use promo code FINSTALK and save 15% on your order. Show off your fandom. Don't wait. Go to thegreatestshowonsurf.shop today.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1. Yes, we're the
Evening, Dolphins fans. Welcome to another episode of the best, most positive Dolphin show on the internet, the Fins Bandwagon. Good evening, Dolphin fans. Look who's back for the fifth week in a row. Welcome to another episode of the Fins Bandwagon. I'm your host, FinStanza. With me always is Fish Tank Hank, my pops. Pops, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Another day here in Florida, not stuck up there freezing up in Buffalo, so it's nice.
Do you realize, because I know you guys are not on the metric system, we got today, it is now April 4th. We have a mandatory snow tire advisory. You have to have these special tires on in my province of Quebec from December 1st to March 15th. We got over 11 to 12 inches of snow today. Over 200,000 people are without power. It is April the 4th. It's 2.5 weeks into spring, and I look outside, and it's the middle. It's like Christmas. You've never seen so much snow. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's April. People want to tell me there's no global warming. Got to be kidding me. There's something very wrong with the climate. The fact that I'm going outside right now, and it's warm out, but there's 25 centimeters, 12 inches of snow is bananas to me. Absolutely crazy. I'm not freezing. I just don't understand the amount of snow that we're getting. It's crazy. So how's your week been?
My week? What
did I do? So busy?
I go to this local establishment, and when I go there, sometimes a friend of mine, his name is Javier, but I call it, he goes by Javi. Yeah. And I go see him, and I was trying to get a haircut. And luckily for me, Javi speaks Spanish because my barber doesn't speak any English whatsoever.
You don't have any hair. How are you cutting your hair? You mean they're just shaving it for you?
He cuts everything. My hair, my face, ears, nose, everything. He does everything. So I had Javi translating for me one day so that I could go see him the next day, because I tried send him a text, but he didn't get it. Usually he translates it from English to Spanish, so I don't know what the problem was.
Why do you go see someone who doesn't speak the language but you can converse with him in?
Because he's good, and I usually convert my words to Spanish or his Spanish words to English. Okay.
So you got a haircut. What else did you do? Anything else fun before we talk about the Dolphins?
No, I got to enjoy the whole Diggs thing going on.
Why are you already jumping the gun? Ask you how you're doing.
Yeah, I've been having a great time because of it.
Okay, we're going to talk lots about it. We're going to get there.
Been able to poke at people on Twitter and things like that, and just that kind of fun.
Good. Before we start, everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to check out the greatest show on surf. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Just have a good time with us on the Fins Bandwagon tonight. A little bit of sad news today. You probably remember him a little bit, even though you were a little tyke. But in Dolphins land, the undefeated season, the players continue to pass away as they get older. So Mike Colin, a linebacker who did very, very well at Auburn, had key interceptions in 71 and 72 in the perfect season as well. Passed away at 76 today. Do you have any memory of him, Hank?
No.
Not at all?
No. My main memories were greasy, especially always wearing those weird glasses that he wore.
Okay.
So I was always like telling my dad, but who's the guy with the glasses? And my dad said, he's really good. I said, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, 76 years old. My condolences to his wife and his 2 kids, but was part of the perfect season team, played for the Dolphins for over 6 years, was a great Dolphin, did very, very well at Auburn, went back there. They had an award named after him. Good for him. Great linebacker. We could use a linebacker like him on the Dolphins today. So what's up, Hammer Time? So speaking, you just brought Bob Griese, which made me think about something today. Okay? Because we can't go a show, no one can go on a show without talking about our quarterback, right? Because back when you talk about the drafts and everything like that, you turn on I very quickly want to talk about this because you tie it to Bob Griese. About the fact that I woke up today and we were talking about the bandwagon, and I always read about the stuff we've been going through for the last 20 years, and I look back to when I first became the last time we won a playoff game, and we had Jay Fiedler, but over the time we had Chad Pennington, Chad Henne, Dante Culpepper, John Beck, Matt Moore, Ryan Tannehill, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and we look back, and then I think to myself, the double standard that lives in Dolphins land that you and I live, we want to win. But in my lifetime, the winning that we're doing in the last 2 years, to have a quarterback that's in the MVP conversation, that leads the league in passer rating, leads the league in yards, does things that a lot of other quarterbacks in the league still haven't done, and he does it consistently over 2 seasons, continues to improve as a quarterback. But the Miami Dolphins are the most miserable double standard fan base, because do you realize Bob Griese, let me tell you this double standard and we'll move on. Tell me what you think. Bob Griese, in the Super Bowl of the perfect season where they won 14-7, he threw the ball 7 times and he was known as a hero. Could you imagine if we won a playoff game this year? We're going to win one. And Tua and then Mike McDaniel finally woke up and said, wow, it's cold out. We're going to run the ball for 250 yards and we're going to throw the ball 10 times. The double standard of Dolphins fans would be, we won in spite of Tua, because Tua was useless. He didn't throw anything. And I go to myself, Bob Griese's a hero, 7 passes. But if Tua doesn't have a big game, he's a bum. All I could say is that something with this guy, I have a new appreciation for the fact that he puts up with this, is that he's the best quarterback we've had in 20-something years, by a country mile, and we're still not happy, and half the Dolphin fans want to go get Michael Penix or Bo Nix. And I go to myself, are you insane? What are your thoughts on that?
What are my thoughts on that?
Yes. Is there a double standard and are you tired of it?
I'm just tired of the people that are whining about it. I mean, you've been whining for 4 years. Shut up already.
Because aren't we pretty lucky?
To be totally honest, you've been whining about the guy for 4 years. He's still there. Guess what? He's still putting up numbers. Those things are still happening regardless of whether you like them or not.
Yeah.
So
because for me, I think we should just appreciate and enjoy the ride. And that's what we're going to talk about, because actually the main topic of the show today is Brandon Beane digs himself a hole. Grier better pull a cheetah out of his hat. Cheat? Okay, we'll have some fun with that in a little bit. I think that's a pretty fun title. But first news about Dolphins, there was actually a signing by the Miami Dolphins. I'm very happy about this signing. The return of Kendall Lamb. Kendall Lamb last year came in, started 8 games. We did not miss a beat on that offensive line. He's reliable. He's a swing tackle if you absolutely need him. what was your reaction? Because I had a big smile on my face when I heard that we to shore up our tackling depth, because you could still go draft one, but to know that we never expect that Teron Armstead, as good as he is, as talented he is, how impressive he is, he's never going to make it through an entire season. That if you have to give him a break, that Kendall Lamb is there. How happy were you here that we were able to that Kendall Lamb is coming back for another season?
I'm glad he's back, but I'm also glad he's back because he can play the inside too.
Yeah.
So I'm happy in both ways, where he can back up and play guard if he has to, or whatever, if they want him to. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Okay, great.
I really like. No, that's it. That's it. I'm happy with that.
No. For me, overall, it gives us a sense of, what it continues to tell you that going into the draft, which we'll talk a little bit about later, is the fact that you can go get best player available, because you've shored up a lot of key spots, especially on that O-line. Yes, you might still want to go get a center. You might want to fix certain parts at the guard spot, but there are movement. And I'm telling you this right now. Connor Williams will likely be on this team again next year, because where else is he going to go if he wants to play football next year? So
I can tell you right now, regardless of what fans say, best player available and all that crap, they don't want the best player available. I can assure you that.
Oh, I know that.
They want the best player available that you need. See, they don't want the best player on the board, because I've selected the best player on the board and people just act crazy over it. And it's like, it's the best player on the board. You're getting a number 5 talent at pick 9, say. What are you're going to bark about that? No,
because you know what the difference is?
Run all day long.
Because you know what's actually interesting? If the best player available falls to you in the draft, so let's say Brock Bowers falls to you in the draft, that means you might have capital to move a Durham Smythe, to move a Tanner Connor, to like a Julia. You have flexibility. You might have. That's capital. What I don't understand. Like if I'm telling you, if you're telling me if a Dunze or Neighbors or God forbid something happens, something weird happens, pulls a Laramie Tunzel kind of weird thing before the draft, and they fall to the Miami Dolphins, you're not going to take advantage of that? Are you? Why not? Why not? Why wouldn't you? Like if the bet? Why would it? That's insane. If Brian Thomas is still sitting there, why wouldn't you go take him if he's the best player on the board? Because then you don't have
because you still have Graham sitting there on the board, who's further down on the board.
Who cares?
Because he fits what Miami needs first, so go after him first.
Yeah, actually
what I was trying to say before when you were on Bowers.
Yeah,
you have capital in the fact that if you have a player sitting there, you have capital to trade back. You have all kinds of things you can do then. That's why lately, what I've been doing on these draft simulator things is I go up to like as high as I can go up to like pick 7, and then I trade back from there. And I wind up getting more picks by the time I'm at 30, or 14 than I do doing it the other way, because people want those players. They're going to want those players, and they'll pay a premium when they want that specific player. And Miami has so many different needs. They could sit there and drop down the ladder to wherever they feel comfortable, where they have enough and where they have a guy that they really want, stay on the board and take them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, for me, there's so many options is my point.
No, because if you look back at last year, in the end, because of the depth we required at corner, we ended up having to go sign Eli's stupid apple. But in the end, Chris Grier wasn't wrong with going to draft Cam Smith, because we did need depth in the secondary. The problem was the coach who you hired didn't want to use him, even though that in the end he should have.
Yeah, I know. Chris Grier always drafts a cornerback. I know.
I don't know.
I know. I'm well aware of Chris Greer's.
Now, but I think honestly, but in the I know that. But Daniel's saying Greer's not drafting an OG. You want to know what? I don't. In the end, I want him to get the best player on the board, no matter what position he plays. No matter what position he plays.
I don't care who it is, wherever they pick.
Yeah.
I want the best player available because Miami could use the BPA just about anywhere.
Yeah.
The only place that I don't think they could really need it right now is quarterback. It's the only position because you have who you have. He's going to be there for the year. You know that.
Luke.
But next year, you never know.
I know. PFF came out, and I was actually shocked by this. And then we're going to get into the meat of the Dolphins and why I want to talk about the actual game, and then we'll end with the draft towards the end. But PFF came out with the key needs for the Miami Dolphins. Interior offensive line, because of the loss of obviously Robert Hunt and then general tight end, because they don't think that there's blocking tight end there. And they don't think John Smith and Durham Safe is enough. And cornerback, even after signing Kendall Fuller. So it's very weird that PFF thinks that our D-line, with all those signings, with Benito Jones and that group, and the linebacker core, with Jordan Brooks and that core, is good enough to do what they need to do into the draft, which is kind of funny. So even PFF, the company, the website that spends all time analyzing everything, Steve Malloy lives off that. He doesn't even think our D line is a weak spot. Doesn't even think the linebacker core is a weak spot. It's kind of funny. And yes, John Smith is very good, Duke. He has a lot of yak. He has a lot of speed. His blocking is but he'll fit very nicely into the Mike McDaniel scheme. So, but what are your thoughts on that overall?
For who?
I mean, for who?
John Smith?
No, about the fact that they think that our keys are interior offensive line. If you had to pick your top three, what are they? They say interior offensive line, cornerback, and tight end. What are your top three?
My top three are, obviously, for me, it's always BPA. In the beginning of the draft, it's BPA. Further on down, you can manipulate and get what you want, because you never know who you're going to hit on, especially in those later rounds. So for me, I just go with the flow, and if it's BPA isn't there, I would take a nose tackle, or I'd take an offensive tackle. I would take offensive tackle first, though, because I want to stay tight, stay steady for Armstead. I want another body in there. Lamb's okay, but I'd rather have Lamb doing something else if they're going to. By the way,
I agree with Daniel. Wide receiver, edge, defensive tackle. Those are three areas I think we need to shore ourselves up. And the reason I agree with Daniel, wide receiver, because when Tyreek and Waddle were hurt, or even when Tyreek was hurt, it was a completely different team. It was sad state of affairs for Mike McDaniel. He was lost. Edge, because you have Shaq Barrett, but you don't know when Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. You can never have too many edge rushers. And Mike McDaniel even thinks that his dream is to pick an edge rusher. So I have a feeling they're going to go that route. And defensive tackle, because you have a rotation there. But even in the second round, Braden Fisk, there's so many opportunities to get someone at 55 because a lot of them will still be sitting there.
Yeah. Well, I hope we get more picks, but we'll see. Okay. They haven't traded back. I don't think they've traded back. So
I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's Mike McDaniel's choice in the end. All to say is this week, like I said, Bradley Bean digs himself a hole, and Chris Grier better cheat something out of his hat. Better pull a cheat out of his hat. So yesterday we found out, we all woke up, we were all just sitting there working, and an alert came up that Stefon Diggs has been traded to the Houston Texans, along with a 5th and 6th round pick for next year, in exchange for a 2nd round pick, not this year, next year. And he leaves the Buffalo Bills with a $31 million dead cap. When you saw this, not the trade offer, when you saw this, and I'm going to go through what he's done for the team in general and how it affects the Bills, but when you saw that, how did you feel?
How did I feel, or what did I think?
How did you feel? Either order. How did you feel, and what did you think?
Okay. I thought it was funny that they let him go, but I understood why, because he was a problem on the sidelines, and you can't go raging at your quarterback constantly like he was doing. So, for me, I understood the move to some extent, but that also tells me if they're willing to give up their best wide receiver, they're considered their number one wide receiver by all, stretches of the imagination. You still have, a couple receivers there, but it's not the same.
They have a couple of receivers. They have Shakir, who was a number 3. They signed Curtis Samuel, who could be a number 2, potentially.
Exactly.
And everyone's favorite former Miami Dolphin, Mac Hollins.
Yes. And I understand that. I'm just saying they have a 2 and a 3 where we have a 1 and a 2. But I just think that the Bills are going to catch everybody by surprise because in the entire division, everybody's going speed. Speed on offense, speed on defense, speed. And they're going to come in and probably knock the snot out of people and start running the ball. That's what I think they're going to do.
They don't have a center.
Still got a draft and still got free agents.
Do you know who they've lost? Okay. Do you know who they've lost this year? Let me go through it for you. And I know it off the top of my head. Micah Hyde is gone. Jordan Poyer is gone. Tre'Davious White is gone. Leonard Floyd is gone. Jordan Phillips is not signed yet. Mitch Morse is gone. Gabe Davis is gone. Now Stefon Diggs is gone. Want me to keep going? Like
their entire offensive line is still there.
Except their starting center.
Except the center. That's exactly my point. You still have draft and free agency coming. I am telling you.
Yes,
they're going to
go their defense is shredded.
Mark my words. All right? Mark my words. It's 8:22 on Thursday, April 4th.
Tanner Connor's going to get 17 touchdowns next year.
The Bills will start going run more than they will pass.
Okay. I'll go through something for you. When I saw this trade, I looked back to last year. In the first 6 games of the year, he was like a storm cloud. He was one of the best. He was probably one of the best receivers in football. Then there always an inkling. Then it started with his brother saying that get him out of Buffalo. There was the whole stuff. And then they started reverting to going after Trent Sherfield. He started playing less of the snaps. They went to James Cook a lot. They went to Dalton Kincaid a lot. They went to Shakir a lot. And he actually wasn't a factor. If you remember that Buffalo game where you were there, he wasn't much of a factor in that night game anyways. He's 30. He is going to be a better fit in Houston. I think it was the right thing. I think it was stupid on the Bills because of the fact that the dead cap. But I do believe that now, seeing that he's not there, Joe, what they're going to end up doing is they're going to end up moving up in the draft. The Bills know where we're 2. The Bills know where the division 2 is like 1-7 or 1-6 versus 2. What? 2 is not what? Oh yeah, Jay. Go. You're already starting. You're already starting. See, he must have been getting. Do you not realize for the Miami Dolphins, the guy has been in the MVP conversation the last 2 years? Go away. But I'm just having Jay. But all to say, I think they're going to move up in the draft to like 18, and they're going to go grab a Brian Thomas Jr. They're going to do something. They're not going to stay at this wide receiver core. The problem is they have to. The only option at wide receiver, Hank, is in the draft. They can't go trade for one. They have no cap space. They can't afford a Tyler Boyd. They can't afford to even bring in an Odell Beckham. They can't afford it. They don't have the cap space to do it. So for me,
let me address the Tua in the room.
Yeah.
This is what I read today. Normals fans, when asked why Miami collapsed, Tua made costly errors and struggled at times. He'll have some key drops in crucial moments. Mike made head-scratching decisions with play calling. The offensive line gets blown up versus good pass rushes, and the good defenses understand we can't run between the tackles, and they take away the outside, making the offense one-dimensional and predictable. defense lost so many players also last year. Tua haters' response: Tua sucks. It's all Tua. Oh, yeah. My weenus is small. Yeah, we've heard it all a million times, all right? We've heard the Tua thing. Tua's the quarterback. It's been 4 years. Get over it.
Oh, I don't have an attitude. I'm positive. The reason why I haven't won in 24 years is the negativity, Jay. It's not the positivity, it's the negativity. All to say, let me tell you this one thing. In the year, how many years has Josh Allen been in the league? 6, 7? Has he gone to a Super Bowl in this massive window since Brady left in the AFC East? Can he get by? No. Justin Herbert? No. Lamar Jackson? No. Even if Tua, who the first 2 years don't really count, the last 2 years, 1 year he couldn't play. Last year he played in the most freezing cold game ever, and Mike McDaniel abandoned the run before it even started. There's a lot of quarterbacks who are so-called stars in this league who have already gotten the money and who haven't earned the money yet. Has Kyler Murray earned the money? No one's ripping Kyler Murray.
He got it, though.
Justin Herbert, what has he done? Nothing. He got to a playoff game and then lost in Jacksonville after he had a lead. Josh Allen, with every piece of talent he had around him, couldn't get to the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson, in the game that mattered against the Chiefs, he couldn't do anything. I'm not talking about our quarterback compared to the other quarterback, but every team has its struggles no matter how good they are in the regular season. Period.
Exactly.
Anyway, 6 to 7 wins. You're so ridiculous. Are you nonsensical? We had a tougher schedule last year and we won 11. What are you, crazy? What a troll. All to say, we need to pull a cheetah out of our hat. What I mean by that is they need to play a cheat code and they need to go get, whether it's still go get Odell Beckham, whether they need to still go get a star wide receiver, go sign Tyler Boyd. They need to continue to build this team through the draft and through free agency with the cap space that is coming. Because the Miami Dolphins, if they don't win the AFC East, not even the playoff game, if I'm a Miami Dolphin fan, as positive I am, the Patriots are going nowhere. The Jets are old and still playing on turf. The Bills now do not have the depth on defense to do what they need to do. I'm not talking about the offense. They don't have the defense. People are going to be able to run on this, are going to be able to play against this defense without question. They've lost their secondary is gutted, and I mean gutted. We've improved our secondary with Poyer and Fuller. If we don't win the AFC East, the season's a failure. Like, it's not even close. Even no matter what they do in the playoffs, if they cannot win this division this year, they have a better opportunity to win the division this year than they have in 25 years. If they don't win the division this year, it's a failure. And then that's a failure on Chris Grier because he still will have the cap space, the draft capital to do what he needs to do to put a winning team on the field.
And that's exactly when they'll clear house. Mr. Ross will clear house.
What's up, MDC?
He'll bring in a new GM. He'll bring in a new coach. He'll bring everybody in new. He'll bring in a new quarterback to start those two off. And that will all happen, I believe, if the Miami Dolphins don't start winning some playoff games.
I think we need to win the division.
So all you Tua haters out there that have been pissing and whining for 4 years, you still got one more year to go through it, Jay. So hush.
Exactly. Why can't we just be positive? It's April. No one should be complaining who's in the court. Every person here should be sending me an apology
for that.
Every single person should be sending an apology letter to me, apologizing that I'm stuck with 12 or 13 inches of snow in the month of April where I live. Okay? No one has the right to complain except me out there.
You're in Canada for crying out loud. You're supposed to have snow year round.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. What are you talking about?
Ask any good American. They know you're supposed to have snow year round.
Not at all.
Like they do in Alaska.
Not at all. I don't live in Alaska. I live in Montreal. It's hotter in Montreal in the summer than it is in South Florida. Oh, you face me. Tua's going to be okay. Let me explain something to you. Anybody who watches this show, anyone who watches this network, there is no more fierce critic of Mike McMoron than me. Okay, I'd have him over for dinner. I'd be his best friend, but I'd still call him a moron like I do one of my best friends. The guy doesn't know how to call a game, doesn't know how to call a timeout, doesn't know how to stay with the run, doesn't know how to call a challenge, doesn't know how to outplay the other coach. But he's back next year. Chris Grier has a draft to worry about. And Tua is going to get signed to an extension because there's not one player out there available for trade or available in the draft who is thrown for more touch, who has more passing yards and a greater passer rating, and who is more adept at using the Mike McDaniel offense while he's your head coach than who? Tua Tagovailoa. Because every time they put someone else into our offense, whether it was Teddy two gloves, or there was Mike interception White, or Skyler I can't throw a touchdown Thompson, Tua they can't do anything. Okay? So Tua's thrown more touchdowns in the fourth quarter of the Ravens game in week 2 of the last 2 years ago than Mike White, Teddy Bridgewater, and Skylar Thompson have thrown all together in the NFL in the last 2 years of all their starts. So don't even start with me. 3 quarterbacks do not throw 5 touchdowns across an entire season and a half, 2 seasons of any start they got into. So one more too early. It's going to be great. Yeah, somebody got to give. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm Montreal Canadian fans. So wait a second. Whoa. Jay, born and bred Montrealer, vive le Québec, le bleu, blanc, rouge, les habitants, 24 Stanley Cups. They have not won a Stanley Cup since 1993. We have made it to the Stanley Cup Finals during the COVID year where we didn't even deserve to make it. We're in a rebuild for the last 2 years. We're going to be in a rebuild for the next 2 years. There's not much happening. We have not won anything significant in a very long time, and we still support our team. I'm not telling anybody else how to fan, but to be negative about everything gets you nowhere. It just gets you nowhere.
It just tells you all you need to know about Jay.
Exactly. So
just that simple, man.
Exactly.
Nonstop complaining since he came on.
I know. You should be happy and smiling. It's a beautiful, sunny, snowy day in Montreal. Just kidding.
We have Tua. I want to cry about Tua.
By the way, you know what? I got to give that guy credit because he hears everything. He sees everything. And the guy just keeps on trucking. You know what I mean?
Like, get over yourself, man.
So, as you see right now, we've shored up the tackle spot. But right now for you, why are you dead set? Are you so focused on getting it? I know you want BPA, but is your main priority because you want to have a replacement for Armstead, even though you already have Lamb and you have Jackson for this year? Are you overextending yourself at left tackle?
Lamb and Jackson aren't.
The team is not Tua. The team
aren't replacements for T Steady. No, we need somebody that's. If it was me, I'd pick an offensive tackle if that's who's sitting there on the board. If we had an offensive tackle that's sitting there that you just can't pass up, that's who I'm taking over. Say you have a defensive tackle and they're both the same on your board as far as depth goes or as far as talent goes. They're evenly matched. Who would I take? I'd take the offensive tackle because I like the later round D tackles. I think there's going to be a run on offensive tackles at some point in time in the first round also. So it depends on when and where Miami makes their strike too. So there's a lot that goes into it. It isn't just a 1, 2, 3 thing.
Yeah. Maybe drive Aberjack. That guy's my best friend. By the way, remember I told you like Mike McDaniel, if I'd be his best friend and still call him a moron? You see the guy who just posted this? Maybe draft Aberjack or Aberjack, our defenseman. What a great name. The guy used to work at Costco before he played for the Canadians. This is my moronic friend. Him and I have been friends, Pops, since we were 4. And we call each other every name. And you know what his favorite thing you know what he does 365 days a year?
What?
Your favorite activity. Need I say more?
All right.
So you and him would be going to the pet store to buy birdseed.
Are we talking about Dave?
Dave and you love birdseed.
Yes. Dave,
you love to feed the birds. And by the way, that's why I love him. Really just want to make you say, yes, I'm able to say that name in public. Yeah. No, you and him, I swear to God, would have the best time together.
I'm sure we would.
See what he has to tell you? Hi. Wait, that's how he spells hi. This is really usually how he says goodbye. Oh yeah. So overall, you're saying you've been doing a lot of mock drafts. On average, how many mock drafts do you do a day?
It's got to be at least a couple hundred, at least.
Have you done a draft? What's up, Raphael? Have you actually done a mock draft where Caleb Williams does not pick first?
No. But I haven't paid that much attention to 1, 2, 3. I haven't paid much attention to the ones that are in. I try to keep it a little more realistic where we might be able to move up to number 7 if we give up 21, 55, round 2 or round 1 of next year. We'd be able to move up.
Let me ask you something.
Yes.
Is there a player right now that you'd give up the entire draft, second, all your picks, to get up into the top 10 to take that would have a key difference on this season for the Miami Dolphins?
No.
There's not one.
No.
Is there a player you give up your first and your second? Would you give up 21 and 55 to get into the top 10 to pick someone in the top 10 that would make a significant difference on the team, that would actually have a significant role on this team?
21 and 55? Absolutely. All day long.
But who's the player?
Who's the player?
Who's the player? Because Marvin Harrison
how far up do I get to go?
Wherever you want.
Wherever I want.
No, my point is
realistic. Let's say we get up to number 7.
Because my point is, let me put it to you this way, okay? How I see it, okay? Let me put it to you this way. You bring in Harrison, right? He's your number 3. So you really have a dynamic trio, but how are you going to distribute that ball that well? You go get a Dunze. How are you going to do the same thing? These are guys who want to be number 1. They're going to be Jamar Chase-like. They're going to be Jalen Waddle-like. Brian Thomas is not your guaranteed number 1.
Not in their first year, they're not.
Jamar Chase was when he was with with Cincinnati, and
Waddle he was relied on as a number 1. They won't be relied on.
Waddle broke the record for the most receptions, over 108 receptions in the first year of his rookie season.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying, Tyreek is getting ready to go, and Waddle is in, out, kind of sometimes. He gets hurt a lot during games, I see. And for me, they need that wide receiver 3 pretty bad. And, to get somebody that's got skills in that first round, that wouldn't bother me whatsoever.
Are you going to get a wide receiver? Are you going to go get a tackle? What are you going to get? What are you looking for in the top 10? Because, for example, you've been moving up to 7. And yes, you're moving back. But when you move up into the top 10 in your mock drafts, what are you going to look for?
I'm looking for a tackle.
So you're looking at Joe Alt?
Joe Alt would be a great pick, but I'm not usually trading up that high.
Okay.
I'm not usually, there'll be quarterbacks on there, but I dismiss the quarterbacks because we don't need a quarterback this year.
We need a backup quarterback. There's a difference.
Yeah, we need a backup, but I'm not going to waste my first pick on a quarterback because
7th round, 6th round, go get Joe Milton the 3rd. Let him throw the deep ball.
Yeah, exactly. You need the ball thrown deep, go get him. Bring him in.
Have you seen him throw the football?
Yeah, I've seen him throw the football.
That guy has a cannon of an arm.
Yeah, he does. But no, he's got some work he needs to do still, though.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, I don't know if you saw this little funny thing on the side, but remember Raheem Mostert and Jake Bailey. Jake Bailey is so excited to have Raheem Mostert back because he always picks him in fantasy, and at least he knows if he's playing or not. How funny is that? Like, the guy's happy. Like, there was this back and forth conversation with them, with the fact he's happy to have him on his team, so at least he has the heads up on whether or not he can play him in fantasy football. So the guy's good at holding the football, can't punt for his life, but at least he has Raheem. So we never spoke about that. Are you? I think we briefly did or didn't. How do you feel about our running back room? So, if, for example, let's say you get into the third, let's say into your 150s, and Blake Corum is still there. Are you going to go take Blake Corum from Michigan and cut one of our guys, like cut Savon Ahmed, cut Jeff Wilson? Like if someone like a Corum who could be a good back in this league, would you go get? Would you do it or no?
Whatever.
Or you're not, or are you not drafting a running back in this draft?
Well, you got to remember, they like to go get undrafted free agents too. They like to get late round picks and nuggets on those guys.
Yeah.
But 158 and later would be a good time to get a back if they really want one. It just depends on what the team's thinking. You know, that's the question that has to be answered. Do they want to cut one of those guys and bring them in? Well, if it was me, sure. You always want to improve your team. Yeah. Absolutely.
When you've been doing your mock drafts, if you stay at 21, who's been the main player you've been taking?
The main player I've been taking at 21, it's swapped back and forth quite a bit, actually. It's either been a defensive tackle, a guard, a center, or an offensive tackle.
Okay, and that's pretty. It's pretty amazing. Every single mock draft, there hasn't been one consistency. Oh, go get Chop Robinson. Go get Quenyon Mitchell. Go get Tavonde Sweat. Go get Brian Murphy. Go get Jackson Powers.
There's just too many options.
There's too many options. The problem is that in the end, you know what it tells me? That every single
we need to
player,
trade back.
No, no. Yes, I agree with you. Want to know why? Because every single player that we think we've mock drafted to the Miami Dolphins, I bet you that Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel are going to take not going to take one player that we thought they were going to take. Not one player.
They never do.
There's going to be you and I could do 50, 60 mock drafts. We'll keep on picking a different player, and we still won't get the player that they think.
You know who gets the player I want every year?
The
Pittsburgh.
Eagles. Oh, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Oh, jeez.
Every year I have called the player I want, and it has gone to Pittsburgh.
Let me channel
for the past 3 years.
Let me channel my inner Courtney. And I am calling up the Pittsburgh Steelers. All I need, my season will be content when they sign Xavier Howard. If they sign if Xavier Howard becomes a Steeler, I will laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh again. Because no one would feel every time a Steelers signs somebody, I message her and I laugh. I just laugh. It's phenomenal stuff. What else has been going on with you? Anything else you've been mainly focusing and reading up about, or?
No. I mostly been reading up on some of the guys in the later rounds so that I know a little more. You know, like I said, I don't watch the college games, so I have to really do a lot of reading, and I usually do that when I'm in the middle of the drafts too. Read up on players a little bit, and then I'll switch off and go, onto the internet, go into their bio a little more, see what they're all about. Maybe hit a few clips on them, see what they're doing, things like that.
Okay. Here's a crazy question for you. Who won the Laramie Tunsil trade?
Well, I would have to say that Miami did.
Even though Houston's won more playoff games since the Laramie Tunsil trade?
You know what? The reason why they've won more playoff games or they've done better is because they built the offensive line, then they brought in the quarterback. Not where they tried to build the offensive line and bring the quarterback in at the same exact time with the Miami Dolphins, and it blew up in their face.
Who has a better team? Who do you believe will go further next year?
Between who?
On paper right now, who has the better team?
As far as
Houston
who?
or the Dolphins?
Oh, Houston by far. Houston has the number 8 ranked offensive line. We have like the 22nd or 21st right now. After all the movements and everything's gone on before the draft, that's where we are right now. They're ranked 8. We're like 22, and Buffalo's line is currently ranked 20.
Okay, but a lot could change between now and the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. You're watching the Fins Bandwagon on the Fins Talk Sports Network with me, FinStanza, and Fish Tank Hank. We've pretty much talked about everything we want to talk about. Unless you have a couple more things you want to talk about before I do a little segue about the new show premiering tomorrow night.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah, you can come on whenever you want. So, guys, tomorrow, the premiere episode, because somebody trolled me last night and posted a 50-second video about a promise that I made while she was eating cereal. And tomorrow, the premiere episode of a great name, a whole lot of nothing and a little bit of something with a beauty, which is obviously her. I'm definitely the beast, who I'm not going to be doing much, with myself and Dolphin premiering tomorrow on the Fins Talk Sports Network. You get to see me and Courtney, sort of similar to what we did on Christmas Day, where we literally talk about anything and anything. The stupidity of the snow, the stupidity of how cold we are, the stupidity of the Miami Heat, the Florida Marlins, what's going on in Mount Hood in Portland. I could talk about anything you want. We'll talk about the Dolphins. We could talk about the Expos. We're just going to have fun, life, anything. We're basically going to be a better version of East 10th Street Boys. And because of Whole Lot of Nothing, the spinoff on that is the fact that I'm FinStanza. And if you've ever watched Seinfeld, they always did a show about nothing. So that's what we're going to talk about. Not much of anything. So come on, bring up your random topics, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, let me ask you then.
Appreciate it, Miss Fins.
What time is the show again?
8 p.m. Eastern on Friday nights.
8 p.m. Friday nights. Well, I'll be there like a jockstrap. I'll be there like a bra because I'm there to support.
That's awesome. Though honestly, this is why you're going to come on the show once in a while. We're going to have some fun with you. And when we bring up, maybe we'll drop people in and out depending on the topic. If you guys want to talk about literally anything and anything, we could drop the link and you'll get the opportunity. We could DM you. You tell us how to reach you, and you can come on and talk about whatever you want. That's what we did for 2.5 hours on Christmas Day, and it just was a lot of fun. We could just shoot the breeze, vent about life. It's just a lot of fun. So.
Right on.
Me being warm up in the freezing cold Canada while she's a South Floridian living in Pennsylvania and bitching and complaining about the cold. So, anyways, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Anything you'd like to say before we end it off, Fish Tank?
No, thank you all for joining us tonight. It was fun, even with Jay. You know,
Jay laughed.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion,
G-Man. There's always somebody complaining about something.
Yeah, but everybody's entitled to their opinion, though. You know, Bobby tells me that. I believe that too. You know,
since I would like to start off by thanking Hammer Time, Duke, Daniel, even Jay, MDC, and I'd like to thank Dave. Obviously, he's a character. Raphael. Miss Fins, and everyone who's watched the show, you are my heroes of the night. My zeros are everyone on the Fins Talk Sports Network, except for Fish Tank and me. Because Fish Tank and I go on your shows, we like, we subscribe, we fins up, we come support you, we say nice things, we troll you, we tease you. None of you showed up tonight. But I show up to support you on all of your shows, all of the time. I'm not going to forget this. And tomorrow, the beginning of the show about a whole lot of nothing will be me criticizing my co-host for not supporting me.
Look, he's watching
in this endeavor. It's ridiculous. I'm watching. Please, you're watching. You probably just got here 35 seconds ago. So I'm purposely going to stay up until 10 o'clock Eastern to watch Bobby Fins talk and his buddy, Mabry, and I'm going to teach Bobby Finstock about wrestling. Because he was in diapers while I was watching Royal Rumble 1990 with my friends. I was 8. I was much older than him. So let's just have a good time, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Crybaby. Look at this guy. You crybaby. You want to know what? You might want to call me a crybaby, but no one laughs harder than anybody else because Fish Tank is in here laughing because he knows I'm right. He's enjoying this more than anybody because I have no fear. What are you going to do? Come on here and mute me? Love you, Bobby Finstock. Any final words, Fish Tank?
I think you've said enough.
By the way, this is why he's my pops. This is why we're doing the bandwagon week in, week out. And Hammer Time, you're my star of the week. You're awesome. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out Bobby Finstock with his friend Mabry. I'm sure he's dropping the link on X. If you want to hear everything about WrestleMania, it's WrestleMania season. You'll catch Fish Tank Hank and Bobby Finstock on Saturday on Finstock Today. I'll jump on there because I'm the real supporter of this network. Like, subscribe, and always, I better find the banner because I think you hit it from me. Fins up, everyone.
Hey, Miami Sports